Welcome to the Brand Executive video series from CFE Media. I'm Jack Smith, Content Manager with CFE Media and Technology, and Managing Editor of Plant Engineering Magazine. I'm here today with Randy Breaux, President of Motion Industries, and we'll be discussing how COVID-19 has affected industry as we know it and what moving forward will look like. So let's get started. Randy, how has COVID-19 impacted your specific marketplace, industries, and supply chains?
Well, good morning, Jack. Thanks for having me on today. Well, just like everybody else, it's been a moving target, how it's affected us. We really started to see the impact of COVID in late March, early April. And from a business standpoint, that was a very tough month. We thought that things would get better as some plants began to open back up in May, but we really didn't see any improvement in the business in May. In fact, we saw a little bit more of a decline, and that has continued on into June. Now, we are starting to see some improvement late June here as more plants get back to work. And, we're starting to see actually some CapEx orders being released and whatnot. So I do see light at the end of the tunnel, but I think it's going to be certainly in the second and the second half of the year, in the third and fourth quarters of the year, probably more so in the fourth quarter than the third quarter.
So you've already touched on this somewhat. So how will COVID-19 shape your markets in the short to long term? But in other words, what technology or system advances will need to be made, and what people and personnel changes or training requirements will be implemented?
Yeah, so there's a number of changes that we are already implementing with the way that we interact with our customers. The days of just going into a customer to make a call just to see how things are going, I think, are pretty much over for some time now. All of our customers are really requiring us to have a specific need to come in and visit with them. So in many cases, we still get requests to come in to the customer for specific application support, or take a look at a piece of equipment, or a process that they have in their plant. And that's the way it's going to be going forward. Same with supplier relations. For us, we're not just having suppliers come in just to check to see how things are going. You have to have a specific purpose to go in. The other thing, and I was visiting a customer a week and a half ago in the water bottling application, the level of PPE that's being required to enter a plant has certainly been stepped up, all the way from safety protection for eyes and hearing to all the way down to gloves and safety vests. So just to visit a fairly automated plant. So I think that's another thing that we are looking at. How do we properly prepare to enter a customer, a manufacturer's plant or operations? So we've had to make some adjustments there as well. I think that as we look forward, a few years, I think we're going to continue to see automation become a bigger play in manufacturing. In any application that can be automated probably will be automated going forward for various reasons. But obviously, machines don't catch viruses, right? So the more automation you can put into a plant and the applications, the better.
So the same would go for process and quality control, right?
Same thing, as long as the machines are programmed properly, the process and quality control is consistent, and that's what every manufacturer is looking for. Also, we are seeing more and more requests for condition monitoring of equipment, and when you can predict the failure, that's a bonus, and when you can predict it remotely, that's an even better bonus. So we're seeing more customers interested in how we can provide predictive and preventive maintenance solutions for them on the critical applications in their plants.
So Randy, in terms of global economy, what changes do you foresee in the coming 1-3 years, both to recover from this pandemic or to prepare for something else that might happen?
Yes, so I'll take it from a couple of different perspectives. One, from a supply chain perspective into the U.S. market, some of our suppliers do import product from China and from other overseas countries. And what we're seeing with many of those suppliers are they're bringing production back to the U.S. where they have capacity and capability. I think that trend will continue. I also think that it's not just the U.S. that will benefit, but it will be also Mexico and all of North America that will benefit as more manufacturers bring production back to the U.S. From our standpoint as an MRO distributor, as these factories do bring production back to the U.S., that just increases the business opportunities for us to supply them components and parts. So for us, it's a win-win in every situation. And I do think for the North American consumer, it's a win also. So I do see the trend continuing, and over the next several years, I think you'll see a more robust investment in manufacturing in North America than maybe what we've seen in the past number of years.
So in terms of teamwork and collaboration, how do you foresee engineering teams evolving in terms of communication and tools to drive productivity and efficacies in the coming months? And I think you just already touched on that.
I did, and we are working more closely with engineers. What we haven't seen for the last 3 months was very much in the way of CapEx orders being released. We're just starting this month to see some of those CapEx projects that the engineers have been working on for many, many months and sometimes years that have been on hold begin to get released. So as these CapEx orders get released into the factories and the products come in, the engineering activities to get them up and running will certainly ramp up, I believe. And we'll see some new equipment in these plants, and we'll see some productivity improvement across the board as the CapEx dollars get released and the equipment gets installed. So I'm pretty bullish on where that's going to go, and I'm looking forward to more of these CapEx orders getting released in the coming weeks and the coming months. So that's good for us, and it's good for the economy as well.
You've already touched on some of these points, but how will engineers in manufacturing help bring the economy back to a growth mode?
Well, it's going to be finding new ways to produce more product, under the new circumstances we have. We're going to have to become more productive because our cost of manufacturing is going up as we take more precautions to prevent the spread of the virus. So I think automation, as I mentioned before, will continue to be at the forefront with many manufacturers figuring out how to automate processes within their plants. I'll give you an example. We are going through an automation update in one of our distribution centers where we're investing in a goods-to-person system. That goods-to-person system will be able to manage about half of the inventory that we stock in our distribution center. As a result of that, we're going to see about a 545% increase in productivity in that one distribution center. What we typically do in 3 shifts, we'll be able to do in 1 shift with the product that's moving through that goods-to-person system. It's a fully automated robotic system to move materials within the distribution center. I think you're going to see more of those types of investments going forward in manufacturing. And that's where the design engineers and the manufacturing engineers, their responsibilities and their input is going to become more valuable than ever to figure solutions out to improve productivity throughout these facilities.
Most excellent. That's about all I have, but before we call us a day, I'd like to know if there's anything you'd like to add to anything we've discussed.
Well, Jack, listen, I think you guys do a wonderful job. Your materials that you provide to the customers and to the end users out there certainly give them food for thought every month, every day. And I appreciate your support. You guys have always been a great partner with Motion Industries, and we look for a continued partnership to support the manufacturing community and the engineering community out there. So thanks for all you guys do. You're great to work with and a great team.
Thanks for your time today, Randy, and for your excellent insights. I'm Jack Smith for CFE Media and Technology.